built by the United States to search for planets suitable for habitation, the USS Cygnus was one of the largest vessels ever built. It was commanded by Dr. Hans Reinhardt, a strange but brilliant scientist known for being theatrical. However, the ship's search proved fruitless and it was recalled to Earth. After they received no reply to this order, the ship was deemed lost and became known as the costliest failure of all time. Unknown to those back on Earth, Reinhardt had taken complete control of the ship and its crew. He spent the next 20 years developing new technologies and obsessing over a black hole that he wished to travel in, through, and beyond.
Impossible!
When it was unlit, the exterior of the vessel was very industrial in appearance, with extensive trusswork and antennas covering almost every surface. Groups of pipes ran the length of the ship, giving it the appearance of an oil rig or refinery. Nestled within this trusswork was the main body of the craft, mostly consisting of large transparent windows. When the internal lights were turned on, the appearance of the Cygnus metamorphosed from that of a petrochemical facility into a Victorian-era train station. Unfortunately, this transformation didn't continue inside the voluminous ship, as the vast open spaces remained industrialized, dominated by trusses, pipes, and storage tanks. As the vessel was so large, the crew used a one-way tram system to move around. Rather than being automated, each four-person tram was manually controlled using pedals and levers on the front two seats, and didn't appear to have any preset stations. Passengers could stop and get off anywhere they pleased, with no apparent way to call a tram to board. Separate from the main tram system was another one-way track. This ran from the prow-mounted docking area to the control tower through a tunnel mounted outside of the hull, allowing visitors to skip traffic on the main track. Presumably there was a counterpart track heading back the other way on the opposite side of the ship. At the top of the control tower was the control room, one of the few places on board that tied back to the original mission of the Cygnus. Why Reinhardt had some of his robotic crew tending to these large globes isn't clear, since he had long moved on from the ship's original mission. Beneath the control room was a lavishly furnished dining room. Though for a place seemingly intended to impress guests, it was very small, especially compared with how spacious the rest of the ship was. Another odd use of space was the tiny crew quarters, with each member only allotted a small room with a single bed, closet and desk. This small space seems especially insulting when the hallway the rooms were connected to was enormous. One of the stranger facilities on board the supposed exploration ship was the gun range. Reinhardt's sentry robots could practice or compete with one another by firing at small glowing targets through what seemed to be holes in the outside of the ship. The room somehow stayed pressurized despite being open to space, but apparently people could casually walk around in vacuum just fine anyway, as seen when the crew of the Palomino escaped. During the 20 years the Cygnus had spent away from civilization, Reinhardt had made multiple modifications to it to enable his desire to take the ship through the black hole. The first of these was dealing with the unruly crew after they attempted to mutiny when he refused the recall order. The hospital was converted into a facility to reprogram their minds, effectively lobotomizing them. They became living robots. The vital technology that was to enable the Cygnus's journey was its anti-gravity generators, running on a newly discovered power source called Cygnium. The craft's probe ship had a much smaller generator on board, but was only using it to safely gather data on the black hole's event horizon. This raises the question of why Reinhardt intended to take the entire Cygnus through the black hole at all. The probe ship by itself was a far more viable and safer alternative. Taking that instead also allowed him to leave behind the Cygnus and his creations for the benefit of humanity. Was he just being ostentatious, or did he love his ship and wanted to take it with him? After all, he did name the element that the anti-gravity generators used after the ship rather than himself. The decision to take the Cygnus through ultimately led to Reinhardt's downfall and the destruction of the craft, as a storm of asteroids being drawn into the black hole struck the enormous ship as it approached the event horizon. Before its destruction, the Cygnus was a glorious vessel. Its anachronistic outward appearance was remarkable as a unique blend of different eras of industrialization. Even the inside of the ship, with its vacant hallways, spooky robot chapels, and quaint electrical arcs, had a strange haunted house feeling, and the cavernous scale of the main concourse enabled some truly striking visuals. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more. Thanks!